Once upon a time, in a quaint village, there lived an elderly lady with silver hair and a face marked by age. Despite her wrinkles, her bright, kind eyes radiated warmth. Everyone in the village loved her, for she was always cheerful, even when life was challenging. She lived alone in a small cottage near the large banyan tree. Her husband had passed away years ago, and she had no children, but she never complained. She spent her days sitting under the tree, chatting with villagers and spreading smiles. The people in the village worked hard. Farmers tended to crops, carpenters crafted wood, and others worked in the market. Life was often tough. Sometimes the rain didn't come, leaving crops to dry. Other times, sickness would strike, and work would stop. Many villagers were often sad or worried. One day, a young woman named Radha came to visit the old lady. Her face was filled with sorrow, and tears streamed down her cheeks. "I don't know what to do," Radha sobbed. "My husband went to the city to find work, but he hasn't sent any money. My children are hungry, and I am terrified." The old lady smiled softly and said, "Sit down, my child. Tell me, what do you think will happen?" Radha wiped her tears away. "I don't know. I feel like only bad things will happen. What if my husband can't find work? What if he forgets about us?" The old lady gently shook her head. "Radha, when we think of bad things, we only make ourselves feel worse. But when we think of good things, we often feel better. Sometimes, good things follow." "But how can I think good thoughts when everything seems so bad?" Radha asked, her voice full of doubt. The old lady smiled again. "Let me tell you a story." Radha listened closely as the old lady began. "Once there was a poor man with nothing. He had no food, no money, and no family. He sat by the river, crying. An old woman approached him and asked, 'Why are you crying?' The man replied, 'I have nothing. How can I be happy?' The old woman smiled kindly and said, 'You have the river, the trees, the sun. Look around you. There is beauty in life everywhere. If you focus on what you don't have, you will always be sad. But if you focus on what you do have, you will find peace.'" The man listened, and slowly he stopped crying. He started to see the good things around him. From that day forward, his life began to change. The old lady turned to Radha. "You see, dear, the man's life didn't change because of magic. It changed because he changed his thinking. When we think positively, our hearts feel lighter, and we can face problems with more strength." Radha thought deeply. "Will my thinking really change my life?" she asked. The old lady smiled warmly. "Yes, it will. If you wake up every morning and tell yourself, 'Today will be a good day,' you will find the strength to work hard, care for your children, and wait for your husband with hope. But if you only focus on what could go wrong, you will feel weak and sad." Radha nodded slowly. "I understand. I will try to think good thoughts from now on." "That's the first step, my child," said the old lady. Radha left with a lighter heart, remembering the wise words she had heard. Each morning, she woke up and told herself, "Today will be a good day." She worked hard, cared for her children, and hoped for her husband's return. Weeks later, Radha received a letter from her husband. He had found work in the city and was sending money home. Overjoyed, Radha ran to the old lady's house to share the good news. The old lady smiled and nodded. "You see, dear, when we think positively, we invite good things into our lives. Problems will always come, but when we face them with hope, we can overcome them." Soon, other villagers came to the old lady, seeking her advice. She shared the same words of wisdom with each of them. Think good thoughts, and good things will come. The villagers, inspired by her, began to change their mindset and saw their lives improve. The old lady became even more beloved, as her words had transformed the lives of the entire village. She had shown them the incredible power of positive thinking,